Hello, everybody. It's Monday, and this is Makers Monday. I'm Patrick Austin, and I'm here with Mr. James Wolfgar. How are you doing there, James?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Not too bad.
Yeah, so it's Monday, and we have a special guest with us tonight, Nathan from IFN. He tried to come on, like 4 weeks ago, and had some technical difficulties, but we have him back now, and I'm excited to talk movies and filmmaking and everything else. But Nathan, please do everybody a favor. Let us know where we can find you and a little bit about you so they can look you up and that sort of thing while they're watching, and also kind of what you do.
Well, okay, my name is Nathan Bechtold. I'm the president of the Indiana Filmmakers Network. The IFN has been around over 20 years. It was mostly in Indianapolis, and then about 12 years or so ago, actually a little bit longer, I took over a lot of regional things, and I started a Lafayette hub. And then with the help of other people in the IFN, we wound up starting Evansville, Bloomington, a number of other hubs that's come and gone over the years. Before COVID hit, we had 8 active hubs plus rural engagement throughout Indiana with guest speakers every month. We'd have different guest speakers and different topics. So, we'll talk more about that later. COVID really slammed us, but as it did a lot of people. But I want to thank everybody for having me and for chiming in tonight. I apologize for last time. It was, I tried everything. I was having a little bit of anxiety attack because I was like, what's going on? But hey, technical difficulties, it
happens.
Yeah, totally.
Such is
we got
life.
to interview ourselves. I started asking Kofi questions. He started asking me questions. We made it work. It was fine, but we're happy to have you tonight.
I watched your guys' video. I was like, what else can I do? I'll just watch you guys.
So we, for people who haven't seen the show, and also just a reminder to other people, we will be interviewing Nathan and asking him all kinds of different questions and just having a conversation going through. But if you have any questions for Nathan or Kofi or myself, feel free to put them in the comments. We'd be happy to address people's comments. That's why we do this live. And it's not pre-recorded or anything. We want to interact with people. So please feel free to put it in the comments and we'll get to your question.
What's up, Joe? How you doing, Joe?
Hey, Joe.
That's a good example of how we'll pop up the questions. So without further ado, Nathan, how did you get started in filmmaking?
Well, if you can tell by the background here, I'm a comic book guy.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I drew a lot. I just was avid artist, and I drew comics. I loved comics. I got into the comics world throughout the 90s. I'd never missed a convention all the way from early 90s all the way to the late 2000s. And my friends and I, we'd always make jokes like that should be in a movie, or this is in a movie, or however it goes. We'd have one-liners, and we did skits. And so, I said, screw it. We're gonna do a movie. And now those are the day. That was early 2000s, really early 2000s, late 90s, when we started talking about that. So I didn't know what to do about that kind of stuff. You go get a camera and you film it. Well, I learned a lot in the process of making a feature. Which you don't ever want to make a feature first. I mean, we did some short films, but I don't know what I was thinking. But I learned a lot, and through the course of making Graphic Fantasy, the movie, which is still it's almost done. It's sitting in a box. And I'll tell you the story about that here in a second. But within the process of making that film, it had Kevin Smith and Bruce Campbell and John Waters did a spot for us. Lloyd Kaufman did some stuff for us. It was awesome. But within the course of doing all that, I lost my mind. And in about 2006, I was going down to my editors, and we were doing simple breakdowns for the film, and we were having glitches and couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I had a rootkit virus on all my audiovisual hard drive. Everything wound up going. I mean, I had all my backups. We lost hundreds of hours of footage. Now, mind you, this is pre-digital, so we're all on mini DV and actually on film. And so to capture that, it takes just as much time as it took to record it all. And then half that time to mask it, to make it all look the same or somewhat same. Right. And then try to match up music and voice. And I mean, it was a pain. And so we lost it all, and I had a little bit of a nervous breakdown, as you could imagine.
Yeah, right.
But because of that, my friend Tom Johnson and Nate Savage, who helped me work on the film, they became more involved with the Indiana Filmmakers Network, which was a pop-up group of professionals, kind of started with the help and aid of Visit Indiana, Jane Rulon, through the government, kind of. But that was really more just like professionals going out after work, chilling, gossiping, drinking, sharing some tidbits of tech. And yeah, they had workshops on occasion, really good ones too. And I went to a couple of those back in the day. But when Tom and Nate just got more involved, they asked me if I wanted to get involved. And at first I said, well, it's so far. I live in Lafayette, and there's so much going on. I just let me go down to visit your guys' meetings and really see what's going on with that. That was like 2007.
Oh, wow.
Well, right away we started working on films. We did Quantum Leap, A Leap to Die For. It was a great fan film. I played Gushy in that. Awesome. Thanks. Hi, everybody. And that caught it. I mean, I was like, okay, I got to get more involved. And first I worked with Purdue to try to bring down students and local people to carpool with me, or maybe bring back the information from the Indianapolis groups. But then that just progressed within a couple months to starting my own hub up here. And so for 12 years, I had a Lafayette hub every month besides December, or some maybe if it fell on a holiday or something. But every third Thursday in Lafayette at the Goodrich IMAX, or Goodrich Eastside 9 at the time, I guess, we had meetings. And I thank every one of my guest speakers over those years. That's just amazing. We've had some, truly amazing guest speakers, not just in Lafayette, but all over the state. So.
Oh yeah, and I've been to a decent amount of those myself, and they were always quality workshops. I remember just having a lot of fun and learning a lot in each one of them. So that being said, you mentioned there's so many things there I have questions on.
Sorry, yeah.
There's so many good things. So one, let's first go get back to the movie your first movie that you were making. You lost all the stuff. You said it was still like possibly going to come out then?
Hey, I would love for it.
There? Where is it now? What can we do to make that happen?
I had a Facebook page for it one time. I was so back in the MySpace days, before you had like Indiegogo and stuff, I actually made money. I raised a lot of money to help get that done. Crazy. We had 280,000 people worldwide on that MySpace page, and a lot of good backers and push for what it was for at the time.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, I had lost a lot of. When something like that happens, and your friends and stuff, and you hear, when's that movie coming out? And I'm like, you got to give me money. You got to help me do this. I just got burnt.
Yeah,
and I needed to step back, and I did a few things over the years that came my way, but for the most part, it's been sitting in a box. I've done a few things over. I've tried to go back and recapture. I needed like a mini DV capture whatever unit player, and I just need somebody who knows what they're doing with that. I don't. It's antiquated now. All the tech that we used then was fading out then. My GL1, all of it's gone. It's not in use today, which is quite funny because there's some of the footage we actually have in the movie is really good compared to others like VHS. So it's not a good movie. It won't be a good movie if it ever comes out. I always say the joke is that it'll premiere on its 25th anniversary or something like that.
Yeah. Why not? Let's
you never know. So I've thought about it many times to go back on it, and because I don't think it would take a lot if I had a good group of people that knew some antiquated stuff and we could just bang it out. And actually, I thought more about it over COVID time because I was down. I was doing other things. Not down, but I was working on my own projects. And so I got to think about past stuff, things that I've been putting off because of IFN keeps me busy, So
So going back to that now too,
Yeah.
you'd mentioned COVID's affected IFN to the point of obviously we can't meet anymore in person.
Yeah.
So what's the plan going forward? You said what you had done. What's the plan going forward with
Well,
IFN?
let me just say, last year we had a whole rigmarole set up, onboarding. We filed as a state arts coalition, a cinematic arts coalition.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
it takes some time to get established to do that stuff. I like working with the Tippecanoe Arts Federation and the Arts Council of Indianapolis and things like that. I like working with them. But what makes it difficult is that I live in Lafayette, but we're statewide, and actually we do more. We do outside the state, and we have a lot of partners, a lot of places. We even do study abroad program in Lithuania that we helped work out for 3 years.
Wow.
There's a lot that we were offering and trying to do. And so we were trying to condense all that and make it easier for people to volunteer their time, rather than kind of say, because we weren't doing it very well. I freely admit that, because we grew pretty fast on certain things. And again, let me just say, for whoever might be watching, all the hub leaders, all the people who have helped us over the years, thank you very much, because I know it's hard to deal with a small conclave of people that they're living their lives, and they're creators. We're trying to work too and put on a large organization throughout a whole state. It's difficult. So we streamlined that. Jared Moishner, my friend James Wallace Jr., and myself, and Glenn Pratt, thank you. We were working on trying to make an onboarding and an on-ramp for volunteers. We had it all organized. We had the dates booked. We built it all up, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
We had student representatives from different universities. Man, I was really looking forward to last year. Unfortunately,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
No, but it's true.
I feel you. Yeah.
But now we're basically 2 years behind. So this year, well, let me first say, in the course of the year, we lost a lot of people who actually helped us greatly on IFN. But one in particular is our board member, James Wallace Jr., who's one of my best buds. He's like my brother. I don't have brothers, but I love that man. And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer suddenly. So he helped out a lot. He was always paid his due, even though he didn't have to. He sat on our state board, and he and his wife Sigrid helped do this a lot of work for like the website and such. So he was more of a sounding board than anything else. And James I always get frustrated. And so whenever I had somebody to vent to, he'd be the guy that we'd vent off each other a lot, which, hey, that's much needed in this world. So he's really missed, but that's an important, he's an important person in the grand scheme of things, meaning that as a non-for-profit, you need basically 3 at least to run your non-for-profit. Right now, it's fine that we are lacking 1. Jared is wanting to step down, I think, within the course of the year as well, and just kind of work on his own projects and stuff too. So there's 2 people, and we have a couple people that's willing to step up right now, which is great. So we've already had meetings. That's not a problem. But I am looking for volunteers to help run a lot of different things across the state. So those people are in Indianapolis or Fort Wayne or wherever. If you're interested in helping out, however you might be able to help out, contact me. It's indianafilmmakers@gmail.com. And we can talk. I don't want anybody to feel it pressured to volunteer. And I want people who do volunteer, we can work around your schedule. So if you say I can give you 2 hours a week, awesome. Let's find that 2 hours and let's see what you can do for us in that 2 hours. It could be just sharing an event, or wearing a shirt, that kind of stuff.
And
just telling people about sharing the events are huge.
Everything like that, any organization like you're talking about, it takes a village.
So you would think after 20 years, after 20 years we have 8,000 some members.
Oh, that's not always the case
worldwide.
Right? No,
but the active membership, according to our active members, is anywhere between 1,200 to was 2,100, something like that, 2,100, and those are just ones that are come and going on the pages and through our website and stuff. But our paid members, what we actually do take in a $20 annual fee. That's just goes back to keep the lights on and pay all our taxes and things like that we need to do. That's few and far between. We had plenty of good, wonderful members before, but now COVID, of course, who's going to give you $20 for a year of no meetings? So I get that. I really do get that.
So it could be more of a not a fresh start, because you already actually have a really good base and you know what you're doing, and there's a lot of other things, but it can be a new beginning, if you will, right?
Well,
which would be
in
awesome.
effect, that's what we're doing next year. It is a new beginning. I mean, the way we're shifting everything is we're going to do the onboarding, what we were going to do last year. This year, we're just doing Showcase and Spotlight, which is a program we did years ago with the Arts Council, where we go into different venues and they get a chance to talk about what they do. So we have the dates. I have the dates pretty much done, and that should be released here soon. I was hoping it'd be done sooner, but I'm actually waiting on confirmation. And I can't make people go, yes. I can't. Right. So, but that is coming soon. Some website stuff's changing too, so that's coming soon. I'm excited to say that we have the holiday party pretty much booked. So, and you guys are invited. I hope that you can attend. We're going to, of course, it'll be down most likely. I can't speak for him yet. But it's probably going to be back at the Switch Theater where we had it a couple years ago. Love those guys. We're working on trying to do a movie buff, movie night kind of thing. Basically where you review, we're doing a Lafayette here as well at the Tiffany Arts Federation.
Cool.
Watch a movie, break it down. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's a movie night, but there's education value to it. So we can watch any kind of movie.
Now, do you bust out the Mystery Science Theater type thing, or I guess it depends on what kind of movie, right?
It just depends on the kind of movie. Yeah. I mean, if it,
you can't Mystery Science Theater like classic Hitchcock, right?
You can.
Well, I guess you can, but
my dad and I sure did.
It's rude-ish, maybe, right? If a lot of people were trying to watch it, but I guess it depends. I think when I think of movie night, that's the type of thing I used to get together with a bunch of people with. It's totally different, but we used to Mystery Science Theater it, right? Where like we'd all be talking during it. But that sounds awesome. So you're doing those kind of events. You said more of the show and tell, and I think I've been to some a while back. I went to some of the show and tell events that you had, just showcasing people and that sort of thing. So you spoke about movie buffs though, and Kofi, I promise we'll get to our actual real questions, but something else came up.
Oh no, it doesn't. No, this is a nice flow. Plus, we have a lot to talk about.
Cool. Might not even get lots to talk about. But you mentioned movie buffs, and speaking of movie buffs, I know you can tell us as much or as little as you want to about what you do for your day job, but I always think it's one of the coolest things of what you do. So can you tell us kind of what you do?
Well, yeah. So you think it'd be cool?
Whatever, yeah. Okay. Sure.
I mean,
I think it's cool.
It is cool. I can't complain. Though after almost 16 something years of doing it, it kind of gets old,
of course.
So what I do for a living is I write studio reviews for upcoming films. So I work for a third-party multimedia firm. I don't do anything Disney or Disney related, and that includes Fox now. Last year, the Fox license wearing out about this time last year. So I do a lot of independent, a lot of documentary films, which is perfectly fine. I choose to do those because they're done. When they come to me, if there's a boom mic in the shot, well, what are they going to do about it? They're not as technical as they used to be. Back in the day, we'd always have we'd have more of scene missing or graphic needed, things like that. And we have more of those blocks on the domestic films, but not so much today. Films seem to be getting made a lot faster and a lot smarter and more on the spot. They're not.
So are you doing then reviewing actually just film critic stuff, or are you saying your technicality on this is wrong? Or
so when that is a kind of a it's hard to explain that, I guess, because when you talk about studio review, it's not as a review artist. It's not necessarily Your lighting in this scene is totally off. It's not really.
You're not the comic book guy.
Man, I
You know,
forgot
it's
you
not-
can do so many
you know,
good
it's not-
voices. That's another thing.
It's-
You have all the best impressions. Okay, sorry.
No,
go on.
thanks. I do voice act, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
In a world, one man. Anyway, but no. Anyway, but no. So when you're watching movies, it takes. I have to watch a movie twice in the day. It's only through the week. If I don't work Monday, then I know I work every day throughout the week. I have a 24-hour window to do it from 11 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. If I do not get done, I don't care if it's 5 minutes before 11 a.m. the next morning, I lose the whole review.
Ooh, okay.
So if there's any technical difficulties,
Yeah.
I have to put in a report and say, hey, power went out or whatever it might be, which has happened, of course.
Yeah.
Gives me a free weekend. That's also what contributes well with IFN. I mean, when IFN's in the evening, I was able to usually get done with most of my work, if not the whole thing, and go to the meetings and still be able to wrangle all that with the help of others. And it also helps what I do freelance, which is script doctoring, creative consultant, and character developing. So
Cool.
I can help people break down their scripts, world build character. I mean, it's weird when somebody says I'm a professional or I'm a professional this. I think we all can be professionals in a lot of different things. I really do.
Yeah.
With or without the study, I think it's just from a perspective of what we do. I will say my professionalism comes from working with clients is that I watch movies. I know the formula. Literally the formula. I have watched so many movies that the hero's journey is like embedded into my brain. And every kind of, I do workshops on this. I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of my workshops, but I've done a lot of different, I do workshops as well about world building, character building. And I help out during NaNoWriMo as well. But I'm not the writer, but I like getting helping people's minds get on track of character building, world building, and understanding those things. Because we as writers always lose track of that. I'm not keen on talky heady, where as much as I like Kevin Smith and Clerks and stuff like that, a lot of those dialogues can be talky heady. Like they're just random dialogue back and forth.
Sure.
Like this job would be great if it wasn't for the customer.
Yeah, this job would be great if it wasn't for the customer. That's true. So, but that's real life. He's talking real. That's why I think those movies never bothered me so much, because I could relate to them. Well, I'm talking more about exposition. Like I'm going to the refrigerator now. And he's walking. You don't need to tell those kinds of things in a visual medium.
Right.
So that kind of stuff, or not just exposition, but understanding that the characters that you are bringing to life, ultimately you're God of this world. Mm-hmm. And every character has to have a backstory and a future story and a sub-story and motivations. And people forget that sometimes. We just think about the story that we want to tell. But if there's a 32-year-old man and you're a 48-year-old woman writing about a 32-year-old man on one day of his life, well, what got him 30? What's his 32 years has been like that got him to that one day? And how is it that you, as a writer, as a 48-year-old woman, can connect with a 32-year-old man? What are you writing here? You got to understand those kind of things. So it's not just about the writing; it's all the stuff involved with it. And that's what I break down. I help people break that down.
That's awesome. Actually, that's one of the questions. That's one of the questions I actually have. For someone that's out there that's even looking to get started with short films and things like that. What are the actual rough steps? You don't have to get in extreme detail, but what are some of the basic steps that they're going to need to know to get to point A to point B?
Are you talking basics of making a movie or basics of writing a movie?
Of writing a movie, because you can film it, but and creating that story, because like you just said, without that, there's nothing else to it. Or you have a really.
And we say basics of, but there's a crap ton, obviously.
Sure. Well, first of all, support your local filmmakers groups and attend them.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're in Indiana or Ohio or wherever you might be. There's a lot of great creative groups, and if there's not one in your area, start one. Simple. Bring other people, bring other creatives around you, and it'll help you a lot. I mean, that's motivating. I don't care if it's because for years I did the Lafayette Writers Group as well. So and the Whovian groups and stuff with Kyle Bortz and a number of people. So bringing like-minded people together, man, you can't beat that. So try to support the groups that are already doing it. Rather than going off and doing your own first. If you don't like what they're doing, then maybe do the religious thing and be like, I don't like this, I'm leaving, and start your own. But that being said, when I do my workshops, I always where to start, right? It's called the beginning, Kofi.
I'm just but I mean,
no. Anyways,
there's really people out there like for instance, like that was actually good advice.
No, it was a good question. He's just messing with
you. No, I'm just messing with you. No, but I talk about where do ideas come from? Right, you could be driving down the road, you hear a lyric of music, and you're like, and you start getting visuals. It might not even be the song, has nothing. Maybe it makes you think of a memory. Something's happening. You're building a story in your head. We all do it somehow. I always like to use the music reference because that seems to be something more common. So especially if you're driving down the road, you're not thinking, you're not having a conversation, and you start thinking about maybe even the lyrics, the telling a story, but you're thinking of your own version of that story. Or you like Spider-Man, and you're reading a certain thing. You're like, but what if he did this? And you start writing something in your head, like, what if he did that instead? Go a completely different direction. Well, that's kind of where I start with workshops and other things. Give me the idea. What was the idea that started you on this path? Because if you don't understand where the idea is coming from, at least understanding, it's hard to flesh that out. The more you understand the idea, the easier it is to flesh out all the little things that come after it. So let's say with story, I don't know. I took improv, and so there's a lot of really cool improv lessons you can learn about, like, so you're pulling out like random things from a hat. So I'm a barber, okay, and I live in Alabama, and I live in a swamp. So then you can act those kinds of things out. If you really have a problem building a character, those are little things you can kind of randomly pull out. There's actually generators on the computer. I don't think I've ever used them, but I know they exist.
It reminds me a lot of building D&D characters and story for that too, because
that is exactly right. Which I also did. I was a world builder.
Yeah, so world building, same thing. So yeah, you see that all the time as far as random characters.
Because when I was a kid, I never really played Dungeons and Dragons, but my friends who always did.
I
was DM.
Factor, you were a world builder. I feel like it was.
I was a DM. I never actually played though.
Well,
or what's it called now? Is it still called DM?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Dungeon Master.
Yeah, I think you're breaking up a little bit. Maybe your connection problems are happening again. We'll see. But last time I think it was this computer that was overheating.
No, I'm on a completely different thing now. I all knew everything.
Yeah, I think we can hear you pretty well. It's just your video is a little choppy. Just keep going, and if you drop off, just join back in, and we'll. Oh, there you go. Now you're back.
Yeah, you're good.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's a loose cord. Maybe I built something.
No, I think you're good. Just we'll keep going, and we can just come back if you drop. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're chopping out. Do you want to just disconnect and reconnect? That might help.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you in a second, and it's not a problem at all. Don't worry about it whatsoever. But while he's doing
that, you sure it's me?
It might not be you, but we're both in the same building, so maybe not.
Because I have a problem here. You guys, okay?
Yeah, maybe it might be us.
No,
right?
Yeah. Everything says it's working on my end.
Okay, we can hear you, but it's a little choppy. But we can just go on.
Yeah, we're good.
I play from a tune that is choppy. If it's not bad, then I will disconnect and try it again.
Yeah, go ahead and try that for a second, because it's.
Let me see how the hell do I do that.
and we can, if he does that and it's still happening, maybe I'll try to disconnect and reconnect or something. But yeah, for people who, while he's reconnecting, dude, he does voice acting, world creating, and like everything else, he should basically play D&D. I know that I'm a giant nerd like that and love D&D, and that's basically what that is. I know he's making film, which is, again, a lot of the same type of thing.
Right.
Just on a crazier scale, right? But where you're going to show your story to everybody rather than your couple of friends that you're playing with. But yeah.
Right. Pretty much. That's like, from what it seems like, that's just the kind of the process of what's going on. And
oh yeah.
And it's such a, hopefully when he gets back, we can ask him some more, because I'm truly intrigued on not only that, there's so much to making movies and as a maker in the maker area. We're talking about the writers, talking about the prop makers, the set makers. We're talking about the clothes, the costumers, the videographers,
like sound guy, the boom mic guy is totally interesting, man. I've been on set of movies, and there's just everybody is doing exactly what they need to be doing. I have never been more impressed by a group of people who are working exactly like everything's happening at the same time. Usually a lot of things are very linear, right? You start A, and once A is done, then start B, and then C. And some like really good organizations can start A and C and E and D all at the same time. On a film set, literally everybody starts and goes A, B, the entire alphabet starts and stops congruently, like parallel to each other. It seems like it's awesome, and it's really fun. If you ever have been on a film set or could get on a film set, just to watch, just to be an extra or something else like that. Just watch it all happen.
Yep, listen. There he goes. He's still a little. You're a little choppy, but it's okay.
All right, Nathan, say some things. We'll see if we can hear you. Kofi, you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Looks like looks like we're gonna have to have him back 15 minutes at a time. We're gonna get this interview done.
We're gonna definitely get it done.
No, it's Nathan. We can't hear you if you're there. We see a still frame of you. It moved. I'm wondering what other technical.
Maybe just an internet issue, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it's just internet.
So it might just be the interwebs.
Let me check my internet test. Yeah, we're on the fiber optic internet here at Matchbox Studio. Speaking of, I'll go ahead and do my normal plug. So I'm James Wolfgar, and I run Matchbox Makerspace, downtown Lafayette, Indiana. So if you have any questions, you want to,
can you guys hear me?
Cool things. Yeah, Nathan, we can kind of hear you, but seems like it's a little choppy. Say something else.
Yeah, still a little choppy.
Nathan, can you hear me? Nathan, are you there? No. Okay. So he's going to work that out maybe and come back. Yeah. Oh, that looks better.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
You're good.
I checked everything. My Wi-Fi is good. Everything set out.
You look great right now. You're like this perfect.
It's great now, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know what happened.
I mean, that's your good side. You look good right now. Right?
Every side's good side. What are you talking about?
All right. Yeah. So hopefully that keeps up.
I hope so. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, it's not a problem. I was just going in my shameless plug about this being Matchbox Studio and all that stuff. With stuff we'll do at the end. But while we have you here, you were talking about basically like just character creation, or not character creation, but character development and writing and some of the basics of writing. But Kofi actually had a couple other questions for you, or one at least. You want to go ahead and ask him that one?
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess my next main question would be, at least for you. Well, I should say we're actually going to get into one of our main normal questions.
Sure.
And the question would be: as you running an organization, being a creative in this industry, what are some of your favorite processes or tools that you like to use to be able to do your job? Because you do a lot of different things, and especially with the organization, like what would you say would be something that would be a useful tool or process that you use?
Oh man, that's a good question. The sad and sorry truth is that I'm antiquated. It's hard for me sometimes. Actually, was speaking about this at the indie podcast. I've had a couple meetings about 2 years ago where we had it's like mentors, mentors meeting mentors. So it's younger people mentoring older people, and old people meeting younger people, talking about the world, basically, because things have changed so much that I'm talking more like an older generation. But hey, people my age, sometimes we get left behind too on certain things that we're just like, what? That because the world technology has changed so much, even within 5 years, it's completely different. So on the technical end of things, I'm not even going to pretend. I will gladly defer that when it comes to a camera or whatever. There's a particular like new camera or new bells and whistles that's happening. I'm not going to go pretend I know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to do it. The thing is, I'll learn. I want to learn. If I'm going to have to use it, I'm going to learn to use it. If not, I'm going to find people to teach me. Right? Mm-hmm. I think what I find in a lot of maker spaces and creatives is that sometimes we don't allow ourselves to listen to others that are currently doing certain things to maybe better for ourselves. Now I'll still use my CS3 and graphic work or whatever. I'll still use because I know how to use it. But there are better things out there, and there's people who know better and easier ways. So I think sometimes creatives can be stubborn, and we get set in our ways on our own creative path. So my biggest recommendation is that for creatives to be a little more open to listen to other people in the way they work on things. Doesn't mean you have to do it like them, but just be open to other people's information. Certainly, I mean that's one thing I've found doing IFN over the years is that sometimes you have people, I hate to say it, but it's true. I already know what I'm doing. Why do I need to come to that meeting? Because I'm already doing that kind of stuff. Or why do I need to be around that? I'm a professional. I've already made it, or whatever it may be. Or I even got that for people who are just starting out. But says I don't want to compete. I don't want to meet my peers, basically.
Yeah. So let me stop.
You're defeating networking. You're defeating that whole process by doing that. I mean, if you go back ancient times, and it wasn't a competition per se. So we all worked.
I think we might have lost him.
You might have lost him.
Yeah, but that's okay. When he comes back, I think I'm going to have him turn off his video, right? So it's just audio, because it might just be a connection, and we do that sometimes with certain things. So we'll have him turn off his video so that he can, just be. We won't get to see his lovely face, but hey,
are you there?
Nathan, yeah. So go ahead and click off your video if you can. At the bottom,
so
the one that says "Stop Cam," but keep your mic on, right? And then I think it will be able to still be able to talk to you, but it'll just use less bandwidth, so it might be better.
What's that? I didn't hear what you said.
So click the stop cam, but you'll still be able to talk to us. It's the bottom of your screen on your browser.
Well, here's the weird thing. So I'm checking everything. Everything's new, and my Wi-Fi is at max. My mic is brand new, like literally right out of the box.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's your equipment is new, and it looks like it's just a connection. But just do me a favor and stop the cam just for a second, and we'll see if it catches up. So we've done that in meetings before.
Yeah.
Wow, it's not even let me do that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe let me change the resolution. Maybe it's trying to pull too much.
Yeah, maybe the resolution is probably a thing too. But I did agree with what you were saying, right? With the whole you can still go to things that you think that you already know about and still pull information and learn. Right. And I do that all the time, like constantly with making, and like you were saying, the makerspace. But here, I mean, somebody will come in and they'll teach a workshop on 3D printing. I'm like, I do that all the time. So I really need to be there. And I almost always glean some information off of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah, it is.
Are we still having problems? Because I turned it off and turned it back on, but
yeah, you're still pretty choppy, it seems.
it's so weird.
Yeah, it is. It is weird. And what's messed up is you'll come on and it'll be fine for like a second or two, it looks like, and then it'll get choppy again.
Yeah, then it'll get choppy again.
So if you can try to turn your camera off and keep your mic on, that might help it, because then it's no data back and forth on that.
So yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so maybe
I know it's just your guys' polite way of saying we don't want to see your ugly mug.
I mean, yes, that's totally what it is.
You're breaking the camera.
That's exactly what it is.
We also paid Verizon to cut your internet for a while.
Let's just podcast this.
Yeah, let's podcast it. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, so I can do this. Okay,
I mean, a lot of people actually listen to this just without watching the screen anyway. So,
our faces
aren't that important.
No, God knows mine isn't. I have a face for radio, but no. Everybody wants to see my handsome face.
Yeah, that's
so let's say where do we leave off at? Are we good for right now?
I think this is better. I can hear you better. And I'm going to keep mine off too, just because then you have way less coming through. Right?
I was thinking it was about my Wi-Fi connection, but because I'm in my living room instead. But I have my booster, and it says it's working. It says
it'll be okay.
89%.
Let's go to the questions here, though. So, Kofi, what's one of our typical questions we ask people? We did actually ask him the.
Yeah, what's some kind of tool or process that you use that you use on an everyday basis in creating?
Yeah, like what's your favorite program to edit software with and stuff or whatever?
Well, that's difficult because I work with a number of different clients and different stuff that send me. As long as I'm able to, when I'm working with a client, that I can. I like Google Documents, to be honest. Edit in real time. It's always a bonus. But I'm more of a hands-on person. I like to meet with clients and with people, and have can buy me coffee, and we can talk shop. Of course, with COVID, it's not as easy to do that, but I still prefer it. The best tools for this particular thing, well, I guess it's just my own brain. I know it's silly to say that, but if I could work around different, because with writing aspect, there's a lot of great writing platforms. There really are. Okay. So there's a number. I worked with all of them. I don't have any particular favorites over others. That's just me. It's a great question. It's just that for me, I'm really open with a lot of different things. If I can't use it per se, I'll let them know I can't use it. I usually suggest let me get into my rigmarole, how it goes. So years ago, I started working I helped work at Purdue with student films. And a lot of their student films were about 10 to 12 pages. So I wound up just helping out with a lot of their script writing and stuff, because at the time, they didn't have a very good program, not to knock them really, but they didn't have a really good program of helping people structure their scripts. They just kind of wrote them out and made movies. And some people that were part of the film program weren't even part of writing a program. They still had to do it. So I just kind of helped out with that. And I wound up going, look, I'll do 12 pages for free. I'll look at 12 pages, because what's 12 pages? And if it needs work, then I'll see how much work within 12 pages. How much work needs to be done.
Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
In the industry, it's like page one. They barely go into a couple pages when you're reading copy. It doesn't. You get dismissed automatically after like page one. It's really kind of crazy. I mean, as a reader, as a proofer, it's really hard in the industry. And I have friends who do that. I don't want to do that. I would never want to do that. I'd be like, it's just like, there's always worth in everything that person's trying, and I really want to see people succeed. So there's a few and far between have there been issues where, let's say, it's so bad that I'm just like, I can't do this. I can't even help you here. You're so far off track. It's just, but I've had it. You know, a lot of them are like maybe foreign students that just don't know anything to do with script writing, and they're writing all exposition and narrative on top of it, and it's all like one word and one big, huge, jumbled mess. I've had that. And that's hard. That's been, you're going to have to pay me a lot to help you at that point. Either that or I am now a writing partner, you know? That's difficult. So basically the tools that I bring with me is improv. So improv skills that I do work on for everyday life as well. And so skills I think everyone, absolutely everyone should accept improv. I've done elder care facilities, I've done youth programs, camp programs.
Hey, Nathan?
Yeah.
Hold on. So your connection is breaking up a little bit more, which is, all I can say is, it is very weird, and I'm going to turn this back on for a second. So this seems like a good time for me to plug the fact that we're making a media center here at Matchbox, a media room studio, if you will. And we're going to have you back on again sometime live, right? So we won't have to have any connection issues at all. It'll literally be face-to-face, right?
I understand what I'm having issues, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't understand what's going on with it either. I just, right now, like, you're talking, you're giving great information, but nobody's able to hear it, and that stinks. So I definitely want to hear what information you're saying and continue the interview. But honestly, with the connection we have right now, it's hard. What?
Are you having problems?
Say like a full 2 sentences.
Hello, I'm Nathan Bechtold.
Yeah, we're still having problems. Yep, it's just cutting up. And I doubt that it's your machinery, since you have all new machinery. It's likely just a connection. But no, for real, we want to have people on Maker Monday where we do live, but we're actually in person too at the media studio that I'm setting up. So you'd be great to have there. So we know that there's not going to be any. Of course, I'm sure at that point we'd have network connection issues here at the studio too, because that's how it is. But we'll get 15 more minutes in next time as well.
Yeah, that might be right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what we're going to have to do, and it's nothing, it's totally fine. It is absolutely 100% fine. And if we can't hear you, we can't get the good information that you're giving us.
Are you still around?
Sorry, what?
Well, I can hear myself really well, so I don't know what the deal is. I think I was running through the computer. Maybe that was something. Not phone through like I have a podcaster, I can all good stuff. But and I've never used it before.
Yeah, you sound like Jabba's Palace, the droid that comes out right, like when R2D2 roll up. That's what you sound like. Which is awesome to, like, if I knew that language and could translate it, that would be great. But no, I'm sorry. I it's just the connection. I can tell that you're talking, but I can't hear what you're saying. Kofi, are you still there?
I am still here.
Okay, cool. So yeah, like this seems like a good excuse to bring him down to the studio and use the Maker, not the Maker. That's what I'm in right now.
I can switch it out to the internal on the computer. Can you hear me now?
Say that again.
You can't hear me now either on that one.
Nope, that still doesn't work.
This is the actual microphone on the computer.
Yeah, I heard computer.
That's about all we heard was computer. Yeah. But sorry, you know. Man.
Well, let's go ahead. I mean, we did get a chance to like hear what you do and all that stuff, and I do want to talk to you again on this, but unfortunately, we're getting pretty close to time anyway.
Yeah.
But I will say that like we'll have to have you back, and we can try again a connection like this. It doesn't have to be in person. I was just thinking since we do have the maker, not the maker, but the media studio coming up, and it's going to be a grand opening here in like a month or so. That could be a fun time to have you down. And we're all in Lafayette anyway, so it's not like you're in Utah or something.
Right.
So yeah. But with that being said, really, Kofi, do you want to? So Nathan, if you can give us the whole like, we'll tell people where they can find you, right? So,
you can find him right here.
Yeah, you want to pop that up?
IndianaFilmmakers.org.
Look at magic.
You guys can go check out all the things they have going on here soon, and it'll be you get more information. We'll have him back on, and we'll have some more conversations, and this will be a good time. For sure.
So Kofi, you want to tell us where we can find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Patrick Kofi Austin on LinkedIn. That'd be the best place. Or you can follow us at Mojo Up, and that's mojoup.com.
Yeah, and I'm James Wolfgar, and you can find me and us, actually, who Kofi's in the same building right now, as down at Matchbox Makerspace, which is downtown Lafayette, Indiana, and we have a makerspace, and it's in a co-working studio, and we're gonna have a media studio here. It's really just kind of a like hub for businesses in general, but the makerspace is pretty awesome because it's a hub for businesses and anybody who wants to make anything for physical product. So we have 3D printers, laser cutters, all that jazz. We have virtual reality and hopefully in the media studio, we're going to have editing software and a nice computer to do things with, and a bunch of different mics and video cameras and that sort of thing. So if you want to shoot a commercial, or if you want to do a podcast or something like that, you can come down and use the media studio. And all you have to do is be a member of Matchbox to do that. So that's what that's about, and that's what I'm about. And then every 2 weeks we do this. So I will see you guys in another 2 weeks. And Nathan, we would definitely have you back on the show, either like we're doing now or just in person too. But thanks a lot for watching, everybody.